even know the structure and the networking that it takes to get the space in town. Absolutely all that I thank you for. On a really personal level, though, I thank you for challenging me on hiding all your ladders till the last day. Thank you. On saying to me, why would you want to go buy a ladder?
Yeah.
Why don't you just work with trees?
Like,
What? Anyway, thank you very much for all those connections to Roberto and everybody up the valley and down the valley. And there's lots. Anyway, I just... for those of you who don't know, which would be 2 people, I work full-time as a professional artist in Canada with a studio, full-time practice. The government has funded me to do 2 things. Work on a project called the Worry Ladders, and which I have 3 years to do. And then secondly, they funded me to just go somewhere and play. And out of that, inspiration would come out of work. And so my kids, before I left, gave me a folder that said, somebody found it in their travels, inspiration comes of working, and organized everything for me, where I was going to be, what my flights were. And so because of that professional practice, I just use this as a timeout. I came off a major project, which was a chapel. I'm growing a green chapel, which has taken 3 years so far and will take another 7 years total. So it's a huge undertaking for the community and for artists who are close to me. And it's all organic. The other thing, I just came off a major exhibition, which just depleted me, and I questioned whether it was really important to make work anymore. The sales, things like that just seemed kind of empty, and maybe it's my age and stage, but I just felt that work needed to have a lighter touch. So I decided if I have a timeout here, I would keep the same structure I have in my studio, but I would just see what comes and see if I could make the connection between these Worry Ladders, and I've explained it to all you guys, but the Worry Ladders are come from an expression in a book that I read while I was in France, where the head slave says to the master, don't worry about anything, just worry about having enough water for your crops, and don't go any further up the worry ladder than that. And I decided I had a few worries, and I thought, I'm ordinary, I'm sure everybody has worries. Let's see if I can simplify those or distill them into a couple of worries. And then my task was here to see how the ladder is connected to the chapel, because it's all coming from one person. So this time here is a incubation time for ideas only. So I didn't know anything about St. Francis, I swear. My friends mock me now in emails, but I came here because it said in the mountains. And I thought, oh yeah, I'll just do that, because it'll be after the chapel, after the show. So I came with the idea for the Worry Ladders. So I'll just lead you through here. In my daily practice at home, I start out by drawing. And so I brought, I packed 45 minutes before I left. I brought a roll of Mylar that was in my studio from an architect's office. And I started by recording what I see daily. And so there's some shapes here that are in that other studio. This became the Wolf of Gubbio, which got installed in the other side. On it goes. This is the tree out there. So I was basically recording everything I saw, looking through there. And the scale, I was interested in contrast in scale and in dark and light. So it started with the natural world around me. Then I went to town. You can see where I went to Assisi. And then came back and found silence in that bird's nest upstairs. And a small thing that I saw on the ground near the chapel, which, again, I'll just play with scale. So basically it's marking my days, but you can see I marked a lot of days in one day here. But what I noticed now is the Worry Ladders in Canada are going to be made out of metal, and they will have a false ceiling of red. trees. Marina's challenged me and made me really think of working with the natural. Now, when I went to Assisi, I never work in gold. These two things are the only gold things I own. When I went to Assisi, I was blown away by how much everything was gilded. And it seemed like the more important you were, the more gold you had around you. So I felt that I would just bring the gold to the mountain. So I gilded things. The connection here is this ladder is a worry about knowledge and education. St. Francis, when I started reading, and here's the connection, refers to education as a ladder. And in all religions, as Barbara reminded me, but certainly St. Francis talked about the tree of knowledge, the golden tree of knowledge. So that's pretty resolved in my head. My other concern is the sustainability, environmental sustainability. So these are beginnings of ideas working through, and the physical labor of making the ladder, which I detested, actually was very therapeutic in thinking about and pushing the idea forward. So even the mark making is similar to the mark making that you see in the frescoes, where they chip out in the St. Clair Chapel. You can see that kind of chipping out. Anyway, that is the idea in progress, and this is a document of my time here, and I think the lines start to resemble the lines that I see here. Marina and Adria have left a lot of things around for inspiration. The art magazines have been really helpful to me. I'll just show you. Daily I kept a journal in here. In one of those art magazines there was an image like this. That became the twist in this ladder here. When it's actually installed, it has a twist, which I thought was fitting for knowledge and education. The other image in one of those art magazines is this. And that started me using the bread that came on the the paper that came on the Fabriano and on the bread delivered here. I glued it down on Fabriano and then started those paintings. But that came specifically from this place. And again, I was interested in the simplicity of the burn, the complexity of the basilica, and the noise of the city and the quietness of the grottos. Again, it's contrast. These shapes, they're all over Assisi. And I remember saying to Marina, how come there's so many slingshots? And now I've come to see it more as that Tau symbol. And part of this to me is incubation of ideas, but part of what I do regularly is this art of little interventions. So all over the property I have stamped words related to St. Francis and his teachings. Marina has kindly translated the words into Italian. So they're stamped everywhere. The privilege of poverty. So I use this stamp set. And I've stamped some cutlery for Adria and Marina that have joy and faith on them, rather crudely, but they're there. And if you walk up the road to Sister Benedetta, that way or that way, your path is gilded. They're little signposts, so you know which way you're going. And that's it. That's I think more and more it will become simpler and simpler. And just a little light touch, because nobody needs another painting. That's it. All right. Thank you so much. Welcome to the studio. Thank you, Anna. Thank you for your help. Thank you, Mark. Sorry. Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much.